My little brother tried to make everyone in our family hate him. My brother Caleb was the kindest person I ever knew. He used to make breakfast for our parents every Sunday morning. He built birdhouses for our grandmother and painted each one by hand. He helped our neighbor carry groceries even when nobody asked him to. Then 6 weeks ago, he walked into our kitchen and threw his plate against the wall. Ceramic shattered across the tile floor. My mother jumped back from the stove with oil splashing onto her arm. Caleb looked at the mess and laughed. He stepped over the broken pieces and grabbed his backpack. The front door slammed so hard the picture frames rattled. My father came running down the stairs, still buttoning his shirt. My mother was standing frozen, with her hand pressed against her burned skin. I pointed at the shattered plate on the floor. Nobody could say anything. The kitchen smelled like burning eggs and something else that felt completely wrong. The attacks on our family started spreading after that morning. Caleb told our grandmother her homemade cookies tasted like cardboard. She was standing in our doorway holding a tin she had spent all day baking. Her hands started trembling and the tin dropped to the porch. Cookies scattered across the wooden boards. She turned around and walked back to her car without picking them up. The next week, Caleb posted our father's old bankruptcy documents online. He had found them in a filing cabinet in the basement. My father's coworkers started calling him asking questions. I watched my father slam his phone down on the kitchen counter. The screen cracked into a spiderweb pattern. My mother tried hugging Caleb that night and he shoved her away. She stumbled backward into the hallway table. A vase crashed to the floor and water spread across the hardwood. Caleb walked past her without even looking down. His bedroom door slammed and the whole house shook. I helped my mother pick up the glass pieces from the floor. Her tears were dripping onto my hands as we cleaned. We convinced ourselves that Caleb was having some kind of breakdown. My parents scheduled appointments with 3 different psychiatrists. Each one said Caleb showed no signs of mental illness. They kept using words like intentional and calculated. My mother bought books about teenage rebellion and stacked them on her nightstand. My father started researching boarding schools on his laptop. I told myself this was just a phase that would pass eventually. I believed we just needed to love him harder and wait it out. Then I found his second phone hidden under his mattress. I was looking for a charger he had borrowed from me. The phone screen lit up when I touched it. There were hundreds of messages from someone named Alex. I scrolled through conversation after conversation with my hands shaking. This person had been telling Caleb exactly what to do for months. They were instructing him to test his family and see who would abandon him. The messages said, "Real love never breaks, no matter what you do." I sat down on Caleb's bed still holding the phone. The messages went back almost 8 months. Alex had met Caleb through an online forum for musicians. He said he was 19 and understood what Caleb was going through. He told Caleb that most families only love conditionally. He convinced Caleb that pushing us away would reveal who truly cared. Each terrible thing Caleb did was assigned by this person. The plate throwing was a test. The grandmother incident was a test. Everything was designed to make us reject him. I scrolled to a message that made my stomach turn. Alex wrote that once everyone abandoned Caleb, he would finally be free. He said they could meet in person and start a real life together. I dropped the phone onto the bed like it was burning my hands. My brother walked into his room and saw me sitting there. His face went completely pale. He whispered that I was not supposed to find that. I grabbed his shoulders and asked him how old Alex really was. Caleb started crying and sank down onto his bedroom floor. He pulled his knees up to his chest and wrapped his arms around them. I grabbed the phone and ran downstairs to find my parents. My mother was in the kitchen washing dishes. My father was reading something on his tablet in the living room. I held up the phone and told them everything I had just discovered. My mother's dish slipped from her hands and shattered in the sink. My father stood up so fast his tablet crashed to the floor. They both ran upstairs to Caleb's room. I followed behind them with the phone still clutched in my fist. Caleb was rocking back and forth on his carpet. My mother dropped to her knees beside him. He flinched away from her at first. Then his whole body started shaking with sobs. My father was already dialing the police on his phone. His hands were trembling so badly he had to try 3 times. The police traced Alex to a man who lived 2 hours away. He was 34 years old and had done this before. They found conversations with 11 other kids on his computer. He had been grooming children online for over 5 years. Caleb finally understood what had happened when the detective explained everything. This man had used isolation as a weapon to make Caleb dependent on him. Caleb collapsed against my mother's chest when he heard the full truth. His body went limp like all the fight had drained out of him. My father wrapped his arms around both of them on the bedroom floor. I sat down next to them and put my hand on Caleb's back. He looked up at me with tears streaming down his face. He asked if everyone would ever forgive him for what he did. My grandmother showed up at our door an hour later. She had heard everything through a phone call from my mother. She walked straight past me and found Caleb in the living room. She pulled him into her arms without saying a single word. I watched my brother finally break down completely in her embrace. His whole body shook as he cried into her shoulder.